Okay, recording. And when you're ready, go ahead.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to Rebel Scum podcast.
Hey,
with
Brock
and James.
Oh, what is this podcast about, James?
I don't know. Tell me.
It's a podcast of two galactic scoundrels, you and me, who just love Star Wars.
Pew, 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 pew.
And you're asking yourself, why do we need another Star Wars podcast?
Yeah, I was asking that.
You know what, Internet? I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's free.
I have the ability to record our voices, and I have a SoundCloud membership. SoundCloud membership. I can do whatever the hell I want. Nobody's going to listen to this. Just our moms.
No,
that's true. My mom won't listen to me. She won't even accept my Facebook invitation to be friends.
Oh, she's my friend on Facebook.
And those are the dulcet tones of two innocent boys that are to set out on the greatest journey of their lives, the Rebel Scum podcast. That was us a year ago. This is James.
I'm James.
I'm Brock.
It's been a year. We're excited.
This is episode 52 of Rebel Scum podcast. Little did we know that we would come this far. Like, did you think we'd ever come this far, James?
I never thought I would get anywhere.
No. That's what I think about you, too, is all the time.
Did you think, though, that honestly we would be doing this for an entire year?
No. In the time that we've been friends, we've started a lot of projects, and they've all gone to whatever you want to call it. But this is probably the longest creative trek we've ever gone upon. This is awesome. Like, 1 year. I can't believe it. It's crazy to think that we got past 10 episodes.
It's crazy to think that people are still listening and watching us.
I talked to my family about this show. They don't listen because it's Star Wars. But they're like, oh, what episode are you on? Like 15? I'm like 45. They're like, what?
Aaron was just listening to a podcast the other day, and it was episode 221 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, putting it in perspective. But guys, honestly, thank you so much for sticking around with us and listening to us. It's, you give us a reason to do it.
Yeah.
We'd probably do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because this is the only time we get to talk about Star Wars with each other.
Right.
Were you listening? We weren't even recording that.
No, we are recording.
This is our third attempt at this.
No, we're recording.
52 episodes. It's our third attempt at doing it. Here's the problem. We usually do it at your place, and the computer's right here.
Yeah.
But now the computer is, 3 feet away from us?
Yeah.
And I can't see that far. and well, it's really, really small font.
Yeah.
And I looked last time to see what our time was at.
Yeah.
And it was bad.
My section of this has been working flawlessly.
I also did set deck. We have. I'm gonna ask you this right now, because today's episode we're going to talk about Luke's X-wing.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the crawl, and we're going to talk about Porgs, which are the new Ewoks. I would like to say, do you think we will get a Porg tiki mug?
Oh, for sure.
In the near future, because
it's going to be Porgs.
Porgs. What color would it be? Do you think?
Oh, like a white probably,
Well,
or maybe like
white.
a gray. Oh, they could do multiple whites.
I don't know.
Maybe like a white on the front and then gray on the back. Like
I don't know. These look like they wouldn't that much care put into the color. Well, there's the color.
No,
inside.
I mean it would be a lot. It would be an extra step to do, but they could do it. It's just ceramics.
Well, it's been a year.
Put it
And
in the kiln.
It's
been a year.
We are drunk AF.
Yep.
It's been a fun year, but wrapping up the year on the last day of the year of the month of July. This is happening.
Our contest is finally coming to a close. So July 31st is the last day, or where will we announce it? Or it's the last day.
The last day.
It's the last day because we will announce it on episode 53. I am reading out of order, so make sure that you submit your shirt and that it's Rebel Scum specific. So us, Rob, Andrew, Aaron, just the words Rebel Scum podcast is involved in there somewhere. And then we will announce it in episode 53, as I said. We will decide by how many sales of the shirts, the highest selling shirt, and which one we like best. And that winner will win a TeePublic prize pack. But obviously, if you enter a shirt onto this website, your shirt will exist forever. So like you can make money off your own shirt. So definitely, you can send it to us. We'll do it for you. or you can put it in yourself, and everybody's a winner. So, good luck to the winners, and thank you for everyone that's submitted so far.
Yeah, they've been awesome, and you can't not win because you're gonna put up as one. If one person buys your shirt, you're gonna make a couple bucks.
Exactly.
And that's that's a little bit of your time, and it's it's just a fun. It's fun, and you don't have to be. People are like, I'm not that artistic. It doesn't matter. Just put some words on paper, and we'll see what we got. Going there, but I'm excited. So next week we'll announce the winner. Monday, July 31st. This all comes to an end. We will no longer read you. This is the last time we're going to read. Last time you're going to see this.
Thank God, because this is an ugly graphic. Ooh.
It's great. This is the last time you'll have to listen to Brock try to read.
Who thought that a year ago we would have our own T-shirts and a contest to win one of our T-shirts?
Look, we started this because we wanted T-shirts.
Thanks to the fans and thanks to TeePublic for making this happen.
Thanks, guys. And those of you, the best was when I did when I was on Rebel Watch.
Yeah.
Last week.
Oh, okay.
And Ezra's just wearing a Bring Back Teak.
Hashtag Bring Back Teak.
And I was like, my computer unplugged, guys. We got quality programming here today, but let's just go right into this thing now. Have you seen this?
I have not. I have not. I did not hear about this. I stayed off the grid.
Good. You should, because you're going to ruin it. But I'm going to ruin it for you. Concept art has emerged of Luke's X-Wing fighter submerged in the waters by the shores of Ach-To.
Oh, interesting.
So this now, people are all now speculating. What is it doing there? Did he crash? Some people are saying he crashed there, which I like, but I don't buy at the same time because it's Luke Skywalker. How would he crash there? Unless he got shot down. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
The other thing is he just hit it there.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, we've seen something similar to that in Empire Strikes Back, though. That's more of a crash to begin with. So maybe he did crash because he's pretty prone to crashing on isolated planets.
Well, Wedge is the better pilot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay. So
they said witch.
He's a better witch. Woo, you're a wizard, Wedge. The rumors are going now that Luke has it under there, and this is going to cause the big, because everyone's like, this is just going to be a remake of The Empire Strikes Back, and Ryan Johnson's like, no, and then we saw the sizzle reel where every single person that spoke wanted you to know that this was not going to be a rehash of The Empire Strikes Back, but this could be a moment, this could be the homage moment of The Empire Strikes Back, where Luke teaches Rey how to lift the X-Wing out of the water in a nice moment there that you have. They're like, we have to leave. I want you to get my vehicle. And I want you to get it, Rey. You have to be the one to get it.
Mm-hmm. Possibly. I mean, it seems weird that he would put it under there because it's sort of like, it's a good place to hide it, but like it won't be operational after being underwater for so long. Unless it's like legit just like, lift this thing with your mind. Okay, good. Let's go. And it's like, take the Millennium Falcon. What about this? Nah, it's trash. So, I can't envision a Mark Hamill, older Mark Hamill in an X-Wing. I just can't envision it anymore. Like, I just feel like at some point, even though you're the hotshot pilot like Luke Skywalker, he's like, okay, I'm old. I'm gonna just take a normal cruiser now that has like a place to sleep and isn't one little cockpit. I mean, if it is, then that's great. But you know what I mean? Like,
but he might feel very comfortable in.
Yeah, if he's by himself, it makes sense. But then also, it would also mean that he would have left without R2.
Yeah, wouldn't I guess you don't need a droid. At
no, you don't. But like,
really, you kind of do though.
Like,
he had a different droid, and that droid turned on him. It's the bad BB-8 was with him.
But we also know R2 had the piece of the map to find him, so maybe that was his plan. Leave R2 there, find a planet that no one could find, leave it there, and maybe he just put it in the waters like, I am not leaving anytime soon. Like, as an act of like, I am done, I will burn my ship. Like, was it Cortez in North America was it Mexico, Cortez or whatever, with the Mayans? He burned the ships because they were like, we're staying. Like, oh, okay. Something like that.
That's a good point. He could. Who knows? I mean, if he took this brash vow, which they mentioned in the comics, that could be a way for that to happen too. Because, look, I don't know if they're going to necessarily go that, but you bring things up in comics like that, and is that something that they want to go forward? Or is that just, and we mentioned this before, or is that just an excuse to have a living Jedi at this point in the?
I would lean toward more the latter.
Yeah,
I hate to be pessimistic, but
the only thing is, this happens right after Revenge of the Sith. So that means when Revenge of the Sith ends, every single Jedi is dead. Like, there's wiggle room there where they could be like, "Hey Vader, go kill Jedi, get your lightsaber," and then go out and kill more Jedi.
Right.
That could have been where I was on. I mean, we know Kanan's still around.
Yeah, exactly. And Ezra, question mark.
Well, Ezra at that point would just be born. He'd be an infant, so he wouldn't have. He was born on Empire Day.
Right. Oh, you mean in regards to the Darth Vader comic?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
So I'm
still
just
thinking about Luke.
You always think about Luke.
Always thinking about Luke. Yeah. Good point. I don't know. Like, who knows? I really need to get a copy of issue 3 for. It's like, I want it to be something more than it is, but knowing how comics have been always and how it is with Star Wars, it's like I think it's just a fun adventure that Vader goes on. So, but I would love it to play into the movie somehow.
I would love it if he meets a Porg.
You know that we're gonna see a Porg in a comic before the movie happens.
Wait, do you actually think so? Because here's how I feel about that. Porgs are only on Ach-To as far as we know.
Yeah, that's true. But they'll sneak it in.
Maybe in that Luke. We'll get into the book later, but maybe that Luke Skywalker book that's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're also going to talk about Knights of Ren later on, and you've got an interesting little
exactly
on the Knights of Ren. The Knights of Sabine Wren. Also with this, what's interesting is in that sizzle reel, we saw Rey jump in the water. She jumps in the water of Ach-To, and then there's another shot where she's wet, and we've been talking for months, speculating, well, not speculating, but we heard the speculations that she jumps in the water, fights a sea monster, and that sea monster turns into Anakin, and Anakin's like, "This was a test, and you passed my child."
Bogle it. That's what it'll look like. That's what I feel like it's gonna look like.
Every Disney Star Wars movie has to have a crappy CG monster.
I mean, and then though I find it weird, like if she was to jump into the water and she grew up on a desert planet, how does she know how to swim?
Well, she's Rey.
She can do anything.
That actually, that's the thing with Rey though. She's so she can do everything. But what if Luke's like, you have to go in there? She goes, I can't swim. I apologize to everyone.
Spot on.
That's my Rey impression.
I
we were
on the Murder Express.
The
Orient Express.
The Murder Express.
The Murder Planet Express.
But she's like, I can't swim. He goes, you must do this, Rey. She's like, but Luke Skywalker, I can't. That's more like Oliver twist.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't do it. And he goes, do it or go home.
There is no try. What? What are the odds that Luke says, do or do not, there is no try?
I think they burned that bridge in Rebels. In that first season of Rebels when Kanan says it. And then Ezra's like, what does that mean? And Kanan goes, I don't know. I never understood. That was my least favorite part of the first season.
Right.
I just been rewatching it for I Rebel with Andrew because he's obsessed with Rebels. But, I mean, the other rumor is, and I know you're a huge fan of this one, is what if Luke goes in the Falcon with Chewie and R2 and says, bye, Rey, leaves her. You got to take my X-Wing. Figure out how to get it out of the water. That's your ride. and then she takes it and she leaves.
Maybe. I don't know. I just think she shouldn't be flying an X-Wing. Because I think she's already basically now owns the Millennium Falcon, from what we can tell. And why does she get to also be an X-Wing pilot?
Because she's Rey. Everyone loves Rey.
Yeah, so we need more toys with her in it.
Well, they don't have any with her. By the way, Hasbro, Side Akbar and Hasbro.
Hashtag free Rey.
I still haven't been able to get a hold of Hasbro. Apparently now they're just releasing this thing to everybody. And I'm like, guys, I'm here. I have the game. Just give me my Rey figure for the game. Nobody cares about me. Nobody cares whatsoever.
Nobody knows what it's like.
No one knows what. So I watched the Good Morning America video where Ryan Johnson comes out and says Benicio del Toro is not Ezra Bridger. It's not as blunt as that actually. Right. They're just kind of like, could he be this? Is he a DJ? He's not a disc jockey. No, that'd be fun though. And then they go on, and then he goes Ezra, and he goes Ezra Bridger from Rebels. Yeah, he goes, oh man, DJ's his own guy. DJ's his own guy. That's exactly how he said it. Just like he's kind of like Stop trying to make him something he's not. He's his own guy. And then what's actually really cool is, you know what he says about DJ? He goes, you know what I like about Star Wars? Scoundrels. He goes, I like scoundrels. So you know what I thought would be cool? If I wrote a scoundrel.
Yeah.
And that's literally all he says. That's all you need to know about DJ. He's his own guy. He's not going to be anything you expect him to be or not expect him to be. He's a scoundrel. He's the Han Solo, but he might be a little bit darker than Han Solo.
Interesting.
Well, I'm saying that.
No, I could see that. I mean, he's the man in black. And he just, I don't know. We don't know much about him, so we really can't. But I could see that. He's a scoundrel. Interesting. I didn't know that part. Well, I could have guessed, but I didn't know.
He was
Ryan
very
Johnson
open
said
with it.
that.
Like, he's like, look, I love scoundrel.
I would love to watch this because it's like, how does Ezra Bridger come up in just a good morning?
It's literally like he goes,
is he this? Is
yeah,
he
yeah,
that?
and he goes, what about Ezra? And then he goes, Ezra Bridger from Rebels? Yeah, no, let him be his own guy. Let him be his own guy. That's actually that not verbatim, but I'm pretty sure that's very similar because I just watched it. And so it was because I was curious too. I'm like, how does Ezra come up? But it's not even like he's on a Good Morning America panel. It's like just a guy asking him questions, and it's just.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's not. By the way, you should watch those and watch the Infinity War ones too. The Infinity War ones are hilarious. Mark Ruffalo and Don Cheadle, they're sitting beside each other.
Yeah.
And Mark Ruffalo's just like, I can't watch it. I'm like, they all die. And then, it's pretty funny.
Nice.
And then Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch are together. And every time, and Tom Holland's asked a question, and Benedict Cumberbatch goes, I'll answer that. And he won't answer. He'll just be like, it's fun working with him. Because Anyway, so watch those Good Morning from D23. They're pretty fun. They're fun. You're not going to get anything out of them though. But anyway, he did announce not in Good Morning America, but somewhere else.
Yeah.
He announced a word.
Yeah.
That is mentioned in the opening crawl. What is that word?
Decimated. Ooh. Which isn't that intriguing, in my opinion. Well, I think you agree.
It should be obvious.
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind of
yeah.
Like, both sides took a hit in the first movie.
I would bet that you'll see the word decimated twice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could go either way, honestly. What else is like it? Like the Resistance got hit with the Osnian Prime system being blown up, and then Murder Planet got blown up. A lot of people, like, I hope they don't blow up any more planets in this series. Like, it's enough. Like, are we not more concerned about the gravitational pull that's being upset with no planets where they're supposed to be? Like, it's really going to mess up our star charts, guys.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking of Ach-To. What is Ach-To? It's a planet, right?
It's a planet.
But all we know is there's water with an island. So is it an island? Or is there more to Ach-To than we see?
I think it's like primarily water with small islands. Like, you know how like the Earth is like 80%.
Tell me.
Do you know how the Earth
is
it? Or no, wait, humans are 80% water. But you know what I mean. Like most of our like the Earth is covered with a lot of water. I would think Ach-To is covered by exponentially more and smaller islands.
Camino, but with islands.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's cool.
So
I can. The other thing in this article that came out was how he came about how he wrote the crawl.
Right. I read that. It's more of like a poem, and he had to rewrite it a bunch of times.
Yeah, he just finished it like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of crazy.
Interesting.
But he said he wrote it right away, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And then what happened was he went back and he watched the old behind-the-scenes DVDs. This is why you watch these things, man. Ryan Johnson's a film guy. This is what he loves. And he went back and he watched George Lucas talk about the crawl, and he said it's more of a haiku. And so he used that. He used what George Lucas said about it, and he worked it. And then,
Interesting.
Yeah, they came up with it's Star Wars Episode 8 Decimate.
I mean, that alone, the attention to detail, like, this is going to be a probably fantastic film. Like, I think we're in for a hugely amazing event.
Oh, this is going to be the best Star Wars movie yet, but not the most well-received.
Okay.
I've said that before. The other thing that came in this article was he said, this is the middle chapter. This is the third one. So obviously it is going to be connected to Empire Strikes Back. People are going to reference Empire Strikes Back. People are going to think that it's like Empire Strikes Back. That's going to resemble it. And he said, but however, when he was 10 years old, Return of the Jedi came out. And that was his favorite movie. He loved, well, that might not be true. I might have added that. But he said he loved Return of the Jedi, but he loved the adventure element of it, how fun
Right,
it was,
right,
how
right,
funny
right,
it was.
Right.
And I think he even says he loves the Ewoks in it. And so he wanted that. He wanted to keep that in The Last Jedi.
Oh, sweet.
He needed that in here. So my question for you now is, are Porgs the new Ewoks?
Yes, they are. I don't know. I mean, they definitely have captured our imagination in the week that they've been officially announced. I think they're a big deal because I feel in the last year that we've been doing this show, this has been one of the most common, like, leaked things. It's like, there's going to be these creatures on Ach-To, this kind of creature, this kind of, like, it was like a puffin at one point, a gremlin at one point. Now it's basically a penguin with a seal face. And I think, was it today or yesterday? Like, San Diego Comic-Con announced that there's going to be a book called Chewbacca and the Porgs.
Sign me up for Porgs on Ice escapades.
They are definitely gearing up for some kind of, like, mass hysteria over these little characters.
Yeah, well, just the way they look at them. If you're watching this on YouTube and not listening to us on iTunes or whatnot, you can see this picture of the Porg here. Mm-hmm. And I want that. It kind of reminds me of the platypus thing from Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
But this thing just, South Park, the guys behind South Park, they said the key to the show is to make, when they make the characters, they want to make them friendly looking and comfortable to look at on the eyes. Yeah. Even though the animation's so crude. Yeah. The way to do that is large, giant eyes. Yeah, exactly. And look at the eyes on the Porg. Exactly. They're right there. They're the Bambi eyes. Yeah. They're like, when eyes are big, they're cute. They're automatically cute. And I think they've hit. So I think Lucasfilm, Disney, maybe they feel like they've hit something with these, whether or not they're in it as much as Ewoks or not, which I don't think they will be. Yeah. But I think they will work as the Ewoks worked in the way that we'll fall in love with them. Yeah.
No, I think it's genius what they're doing with all this because, like, you're right. They could mean nothing, but like because they've shown it and the internet reacted the way they wanted to, they're like, okay, perfect. Because there was, it's reported that like R2 and the Porgs are going to interact, and now there's Chewbacca's and the Porgs, like
R2 and the Porgs.
Like, you know what I mean?
I want that read along record.
Yeah. No, we talked about it a couple weeks ago.
I know, but it's all starting to be real now.
Yeah, because everything we say is true.
Luke Skywalker dies.
Oh, Princess Leia is a giraffe.
And Poe Dameron is
as the beaver. Yeah, so it's exciting. And it's cool because as we saw in the Sizzle World, they're practical. They're not. It's not CG characters. I mean, some of it will probably be CG, but like they are practical
this
puppets.
Picture here is a CG.
Yeah, exactly.
They're definitely. But what they said was there was puffins on the island.
Yeah, and they were trying to play up it.
We'll just create these. So
yeah, exactly.
And that's why I don't think they're gonna fit like Ewoks. But I think probably when this this was presented to Rian Johnson, he was like, "Well, Ewoks are a way to go." And that's and that was like his. I loved Ewoks. Star Wars. Look. At the end of the day, Star Wars, George Lucas said this when The Phantom Menace came out and all the criticism that it got. He said, Star Wars is for kids. And whether or not you believe that doesn't matter. What really matters is he made the first Star Wars because he couldn't get the rights to Flash Gordon. Right. So he made Star Wars. And he was smart enough to keep the toy rights. Yeah. Right?
Oh, yeah.
He knew right away that he wanted to build an empire with toys. That was his thing. So whether you think Star Wars is for kids or not, it doesn't matter because ultimately it is, and it's all about selling toys. Yep. Which, by the way, I was at Walmart the other day, and every single Star Wars and superhero toy, Marvel and Star Wars toys, I don't know about DC, but Marvel and Star Wars toys were all 50% off.
Oh, really? Interesting.
All of them. Every single one of them.
I was thinking about that recently. It's like, it's interesting that they still, because, First Friday's coming up in September. We talked about it last week, and that's Hasbro, more or less. And we talked about, like, the hashtag Free Rey and stuff like that. It's interesting that Star Wars would sell that through an other company, but it makes sense because then, we disperse through all these different stores. They don't, Hasbro does the work, and Star Wars just gives them what. Meanwhile, we have Disney stores now there are exclusive Disney store items, but you think they would just stop. But I don't know business.
There aren't enough Disney stores, though.
Exactly. That's the thing. There's more Walmarts, there's more Toys R Us's, there's more Kmart's.
Get it out there.
Whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Look, I can't wait to get my Porg one You have a Vader one. Like these were from EB Games GameStop.
Yep.
That's where these are. These are from a video game store.
Yep.
This is from anywhere. You know, like these things are everywhere now.
Yeah. Where did I see these recently? Out of Michael's, the craft store.
I got this at EB with the Kylo Ren. It's cool because they're on snow.
Yeah. They match together. Yeah. So, anyways, it's Porgalicious. It's hot. On to the next thing. Let's get this show over with.
But I can't wait for Porgs.
Never Tell Me the Odds, our 50-second version.
No, it's not.
When did we start doing Never Tell Me the Odds? Like the third episode?
It was a little later on. The second episode was the first time I said scumbags.
Yeah.
It was the Rogue One reaction day.
Oh, sorry. Did you say the first one or the second one?
Second.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
first one I definitely didn't.
Yeah.
And then, because I remember I went home and I was like, I need to think of a way to start the show.
Yeah. I think I have that on my phone.
All right. All right. So this week's Never Tell Me the Odds are brought to us by Porgs.
Porgs. The other white meat.
Have you ever had a barbecued porg?
Oh, it's great.
Porg. Put some honey garlic pork on there.
Ooh la la.
Sweet
you
and
feel
sour
like on
pork.
the seventh moon of Endor.
You can't beat a good pork. You know what? I'm going to tweet Ryan Johnson.
Yes. What we want to know what a group of porgs are. They're bird-like, but they look like seals. Are they like a flock of porgs, a herd of porgs, a pod of porgs? My guess is they are a Hufflepuff of porgs because that just sounds right.
I'm not writing Hufflepuff. It takes too much space.
That's fine, and it will never happen. Yeah, perfect. So actually, maybe I should read it instead of staring at it. It's like, Ryan Johnson, what do you call a group of porgs? Flock, herd, curious. THX. Which is a callback to George Lucas.
Exactly. That's why I did it.
THX.
I think he might get it. He's
4,
not.
4, 3, 7.
Anyway, we'll tweet that. We'll see if he gives us a response.
What are the numbers for the original TX? It was like 1 4, like the actual movie. Like not the THX of the sound. 1138.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Never Tell Me the Odds brought to you by Ryan Johnson giving us our answer to Porgs. The first one is the odds of seeing Luke and R2 in an X-Wing again. Call back to the beginning of the show. Will we see Luke and R2 flying in combat? Well, maybe not combat.
I'm going to go high even though I kind of kiboshed it. I'm going to go 75% because it would be great. But it would look weird. Because, imagine they're on Ach-To and they're like, okay, you fly the Falcon. I'm going to get my X-Wing. And Luke comes out of the hut and he's like, I can't fit the jumpsuit on anymore because my belt comes up to here now. Yeah. I did one thing about the scissor reel I liked was how Poe's jumpsuit looks cool.
Yeah, it does.
Like the old one's like, but yeah, 75% for
I'm
me.
gonna go 100%. I don't know if it's gonna be 8 or 9, but we're gonna see it because nostalgia reigns supreme.
Oh, for sure.
Our next odd, this one is a rumor that's been hitting the interwebs as of late. The odds of DJ being Casterfo from Bloodline. I'll go first on this one. 0.
Yeah.
0.1.
I agree. It was 0.
It's kind of a cool idea, but Benicio del Toro's too old to be Casterfo.
Yeah.
And Casterfo, nothing about what we know of Casterfo would tell us that he's DJ.
Yeah.
I don't think.
It would be a fun link, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't.
And we already know Ryan Johnson's like, he's just his own guy.
But Ryan Johnson did have notes for Bloodline.
Right.
So that's the only reason why I would even consider that would be because of the notes.
Right.
He's
the sea jumper guy.
I bet there's a better chance of him being a porg in disguise. Like 3 porgs in a jumpsuit.
Snoke is a porg. Make that shirt. That will win the contest.
Our final odd, the odds of a Last Jedi trailer in August.
I want it to, so I'm going to go, and because there's a but, my answer is full Brock, 50-50. Because one, it's only been a month since the scissor reel. I feel like deep down I'm like, we deserve a trailer. But at the same note, I just feel like because it's so close together and September's coming up, Force Friday, and then football season's going to start up too. And they've had success with doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe follow that suit. I don't know.
Yeah, because Rogue One did it. But Rogue One did it differently because Rogue One, Celebration, England, London, Europe, was
in the summertime during the Olympics.
And everyone was like, we're going to get that Rogue One, the second Rogue One trailer, we're going to get it. And we didn't. And we got the sizzle reel. And then the people there saw
right.
Right? But Rogue One, I think, was a completely different thing as well because you have to sell, not us, but our friends who aren't Star Wars obsessed. You have to sell them on Rogue One. Why do our parents want to see Rogue One? They know, they want to go see Rey, Finn, Luke, and Han, but why do they want to go see Rogue One? So we got that trailer in August, I think, to also put out the fire a little bit from the backlash of Star Wars Celebration.
Right.
But like in this one, they're not gonna have trouble selling tickets for Rey, Kylo, Finn. No, people Poe, who know Leia, who that is. Luke. Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I can see them just being like, August is gonna come and go. Mm-hmm. The Olympics aren't around. They did it during the Olympics. Remember Michael Phelps' big race? They like that was a whole thing. We did our second episode that night. We made it at 9 o'clock. We sat and we waited for it. We reacted to it, and then we did. You can watch the reaction here. Actually, we posted that I think in like September. Yeah, October.
It was like one of our first ones.
Yeah, before we even did this stuff. But I think October. I think that's when you do, because we've seen enough. I've seen enough of Last Jedi already. For me, like I've seen enough. The first trailer came out in April. Yep. Sizzle reel. October, Monday Night Football again. Tell me, I'm going to buy the tickets right after. You got me excited. Now, if they don't think for some reason that they can sell tickets, I think we'll see a trailer in August as well. Right. And then October, they'll boom, boom. But I think it'll be October, and then right after that, TV spot. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think, and I am not anyone of knowledge on any sort of thing whatsoever. All right, let's move on to
books and or comics.
What? So I know you do a lot of reading.
Yeah.
And have you read The Dark Tower?
Yes, I have, actually.
I thought you said you hadn't.
Yeah, no, I have.
In the movie theater, when we saw the Planet of the Apes War, I said, have you read this? And you're like, no.
I said, yeah.
And then you said, no.
And then we had a conversation. I said, and then
you went on this whole thing about cocaine.
I said this movie's gonna be bonkers because we were talking about, because here's a fun fact about Stephen King. When he was in his like the early part of his career, he was very addicted to cocaine, in his 30s and 40s, to almost the point where it almost destroyed his life. He was writing the Dark Tower series while this was all going down. So he got to the third book, and then he stopped writing. I think it was like 15 or 20 years before he wrote the fourth book. And I won't get deep into it, but like if you read the first three books, it's like, it is wild. You're like, this guy was on cocaine when he wrote this. It's a lot of, I'm not putting it down. Like, it's just like, for you to really enjoy it, you kind of have to know a lot of Stephen King, because it's basically the characters go in and out of different dimensions of worlds, and they're all sort of related to the books he's written prior. So characters, it's not, you don't go into the book. It's not like he goes into The Shining and they're like, we got to stop that guy. It was like characters and different things are mentioned in there, which he's done in other books. But like to fully comprehend the whole thing is very bizarre, because it's like, it's written like a Western, but it's more fantasy. So it's like,
yeah, the trailer that we saw in front of Apes I liked a lot better than the first trailer. Yeah, it reminded me of The Neverending Story. Yeah,
because like that trailer especially will show you that there's a modern day, and then there's like the world of the gunslinger. So why did we get on the hook?
Because we're on books and comics. Yes. Do you have a book or comic?
I don't, but I have something for next week. So
sweet, me too. Let's throw it over to Andrew Fantasia. Andrew.
Hey, howdy ho, scumbags. I'm here with another very impromptu books and or comics, but this time it's not comics. It's actually books. So a million years ago, I don't know if you guys remember, we did an episode about Shadows of the Empire, talking all about the book, the comic, etc., like just Shadows in general. And we did a top 5 about our favorite old canon books, our favorite Legends books. And my number 1 was something called MedStar 1 and 2. And for the longest time, Brock and James, you guys have been like, what the hell is MedStar 1 and 2? And a lot of you out there are probably thinking the same thing. So I just thought I'd really quickly take this segment to hijack from the boys and tell you about MedStar 1 and 2. So this is them right here. This is MedStar 1. This is MedStar 2. These were a Clone Wars novel. Now, they made a few of these Clone Wars novels. There's a Mace Windu one called Shatterpoint. There's an Obi-Wan one called The Cestus Deception. I think there was a Yoda one, too. But these two were by far my favorite, and they ended up being my favorite Legends novels. They're very out of left field. They're basically like a Star Wars story. They have very few characters that are familiar, except for, you can see here on the cover, on both covers, Barriss Offee, who in Clone Wars ends up being a traitor anyway. But she is in the books, and so is her master, Luminara Unduli. But other than that, it's all new characters. It takes place on this planet that is, it's basically a camp for healing injured clones and just people in the Clone Wars who were injured. It's like MASH, but in Star Wars. And there was a whole mystery about one of the people at this camp was a spy working for Count Dooku, and they were sabotaging everything. And it was really cool because it was basically just a whodunit in this MASH setup. And it was so epic that they had to, stretch it over 2 books. So I'm just going to really quickly read the back synopsis of the first one for you, just so you get a taste of what's going on here. So it says, a surgeon who covers his despair with wisecracks. Another who faces death and misery head on, venting his emotions through beautiful music. A nurse with her heart in her work and her eye on a doctor. A Jedi Padawan on a healing mission without her master. These are the core members of a tiny med unit serving the jungle world of Drongar, where battle is waged over the control of a priceless native plant, and an endless line of medlifters brings in the wounded and dying, mostly clone troopers, but also soldiers of all species. While the healers work desperately to save lives, others plot secretly to profit from the war, either by dealing on the black market or by manipulating the events of the war itself. In the end, though, all will face individual tests, and only those of compassionate hearts and staunch spirits can hope to survive to fight another day. This book was a lot of fun, and the sequel was like a lot of fun too. Like neither one was better than the other. It just carried on. It was literally like they just wrote one book and then chopped it in half. I was guessing till the very end, like it was a good mystery. I didn't know off the bat who did it. It wasn't too obvious, and I actually guessed wrong. I thought it was who ended up being the red herring. They did a great job on it. It was written by Michael Reeves and Steve Perry. Steve Perry, of course, again, not famous singer of Journey, the greatest rock band ever, but the writer of Shadows of the Empire. And in fact, I was just looking at the back of the book, and not only did these two gentlemen both write a lot of Star Wars stuff, they were also writers for the Batman animated series, which is cool because everybody likes Batman animated series. So these guys know their stuff. That's why those books ended up being so great. So MedStar, check it out. The first one's called Battle Surgeon. The second one's called Jedi Healer. I don't know if they're easy to find anymore, but these were my favorite Legends books. They still are. Give them a whirl. You won't be disappointed. Okay, I've hijacked the airwaves long enough. Back to you, James and Brock. May the force of others be with you.
What?
Huh?
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Taking my line like that.
What a piece of work.
Yeah. You're not on the show anymore.
Boom. That's not so fantastic. No.
This next thing we're going to do, this one you text me, it was like 4 episodes in or so. You're like, we should do the news.
We should do news.
That's actually, you actually said that. You're like, we should do the news. But you wanted it a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more elaborate.
But
we'll get there.
We need co-ops. So if any of you are co-ops, feel free to stop by. All right, what's our first news story today?
First news story is what I think we might have talked about a bit, but there's a group of, or 4 books called The Road. Is it The Road? The Journey. Sorry, The Journey to the Last Jedi. They're mostly YA books, I believe. I don't know. Is the Phasma one YA as well? I can't remember, but I do know.
Read them all.
Yeah. So we're getting a Princess Leia book by Claudia Gray, who did Lost Stars and Bloodline. Captain Phasma.
That's a perfect fit. Sorry for.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
Claudia Gray, yeah,
Captain Phasma, The Legend of Luke Skywalker, and a book called Canto Bight, which doesn't even have a cover art yet, which is.
Well, and they also announced Chewie and the Porgs, and Thrawn comic book.
Right.
Thrawn comics coming out. Sorry to cut you off.
So we got Thrawn coming out. So it's gonna be interesting because as much as they did this with Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, apparently thematically these are gonna be more intertwined with. It might not reveal anything, but I think there'll be a lot more to the movie if you read these as well, because they take place between Oh, well, the legend of Luke Skywalker definitely tells you what happens between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
No, I think this one is a bunch of legends. Like, these are tales that people have told about Luke Skywalker.
No, I think what I read here is like there's going to be a link.
Oh, I'm sure that.
Like Luke, the Leia, Princess of Alderaan, a very strong connection to some of the things from Last Jedi. Once you see the film, will make sense. And then Luke, it said, goes into some of these stories that were told. Okay, there you go. Some were the legend of Luke Skywalker or the last one. Is they true? Well, maybe not. Like, so yeah. And Canto Bight, we get to see more of the town, the city, the casinos and all that, which should be interesting. Yeah, I'm psyched for this. I think they're coming out in September. So I think you should read 2 and I'll read 2 and we'll do books.
We can't read them all.
So,
but also they announced the Last Jedi novelization is going to be written by Jason Fry.
Right.
He's written a bunch of stuff.
He's a guy that writes things.
He did the Clone Wars Darth Maul Shadow Conspiracy and some other stuff. Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool, man. Next story.
This is my favorite one ever.
Will Smith loves Star Wars so much that it's better than getting jiggy with it.
No.
Now, he was at San Diego Comic-Con to promote the new show he's in called Bright for Netflix. And he said that when he saw Star Wars for the first time as a youngster, it was so like the original trilogy. Like he's I don't know, he's a little older than us, so he probably resaw it. The first time he saw Star Wars, it was like he said that seeing it for the first time because it didn't have effects. Like Star Wars: A New Hope is where a lot of these special effects were born. You know, like they were the precursor to what we see today. He's like, but it being so amazing that it's like that's what he's always tried to make movies. Like he always when he does a movie, he tries to make it so it's like, wow, that's amazing. And he said the effect it had on him, the experience of watching Star Wars, was better than having sex for the first time. So he said that to people. But yeah,
but he is Will Smith.
He's Will Smith. He gets crazy.
He can say whatever he wants.
Big Willie Styles all in it. So yeah, that was kind of cool. And his new Netflix show, The Bright, sounds good, or Bright. So.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You see the trailer?
No, but I read the synopsis.
I watched it silently.
Oh, cool.
That's how I want.
So check that out. But
now
also check out Star Wars.
We're going to Miami.
And then recently, Star Wars Newsnet showed something that was leaked to them a while back that they didn't leak out of respect to Lucasfilm, but now with D23 come out and we see in the sizzle reel Rey fighting stuntmen with what seems to be lightsabers. Where there's a lot of theories that is she's going to battle Knights of the Ren. All right, so this is some on the screen here. They had leaked footage, leaked concept art of the Knights of Ren, which are really cool because like some of them, I don't think in this one, but there's another one where you could actually see their face. Obviously, they weren't anybody. It was just like they weren't all masked. So it was like that's really cool. We're hoping to see it. I mean, the Knights of Ren has, I think, stolen everyone's imagination since we've seen it for like 2 seconds in Force Awakens. So.
And really, yeah, like they're so. I'm not gonna say underused because they didn't need to be used.
No,
but
exactly.
They're mentioned by Snoke. The only reason they have a name is because Snoke gives them their name.
Yeah.
And the only reson we care about them is because J.J. Abrams told us we should care about them. But they look super cool in that scene. If that is them, you had a theory about the Knights of Ren.
What if
Sabine Wren?
What if the Knights of Ren were decommissioned clones from the Clone Wars? So they look like Jango Fett. Now, obviously, there's got to be some kind of backstory because if they were clones that were active during the Clone Wars, they would be very old at this point.
They'd be dead.
Yeah, or they'd be dead. My hypothesis, if they are, because that would be kind of neat, and it kind of work with how, Snoke has been around since before the Empire, that maybe he got his hands on a couple clones and just kept them in the packaging. He kept them in the packaging, and then once he could he started to make his stand in the First Order, he created his own thing. Maybe he created his own Knights of Ren so that Kylo had followers, so he would come to his side. I don't know. That would be cool, though.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. If you like this idea, we both thought of it. If you hate it, this is Brock.
And they could easily, even though the actor who did Jango is older now, probably doesn't look like he did in Attack of the Clones.
He is in Couples Retreat.
That's true, and he looks great. But they could very easily CG a young picture or a young face on those characters, and then he could just do the voices. Or the guy that he doesn't do the voices for Clone Wars and Rebels, no. Or
and the guy that does the voice of Clone Wars and Rebels is doing the voice for Battlefront 2.
You don't even have to make a thing of it. It's like, oh, these are old clone. These are some clones I found.
Anytime you bring something like that, and I am 100% on board, whether it makes sense or not. This, I think, does make kind of sense.
It could work, and it would be a way to connect it all. But
J.J. Abrams also deleted all of the freaking flags from Maz Kanata's castle so that they had no connection.
Though when you read a lot of articles on things you missed in Star Wars, they always bring that up, and they don't bring up that they took them out in the actual release.
They shouldn't have taken them out. That was the dumbest thing Force Awakens did. Because if you just leave them in there, it's a cool little Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly.
But you take them out, now it's like, why? Because you hate why do you... The prequels, whether you like them or not, are a part of this world.
Yeah.
And they're a part of the timeline. They're a part of the history.
Exactly.
So why not just honor it? And if you... Putting the flag in there is the best way to honor it, because you don't have to acknowledge anything. You're just like, guess what? Those flags you saw for a 15-minute pod race, they exist still, and here they are. Enjoy them. That's what we don't like. As much as I'm like, I would like to see a Gungan move or an Ewok.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to show me any of that stuff. Just acknowledge that era that they were in still exists, and stop. They're burying it in books and comics, right?
Yeah.
Like that you just said that you saw a Gungan in a comic. But that's where they're burying. They don't want to bring them to this. And that's cool that they have their new aliens and their Thunderbird-looking characters now. That's cool that that's all there. But there's a history. And the nostalgia is here, but the history is also a bigger part of that nostalgia.
Yeah, and you got these costumes somewhere. Just use them again. Really.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's our Hollow News. James, bring us to everybody's favorite segment.
We already did the opening theme song.
Boom.
Brock and James
do whenever they can sing.
Ewoks on Ice.
Top 5. Is this our 52nd? Did we do top 5 since the beginning?
Yeah, I think we did.
This is the 52nd time.
Also, next week we should be putting the audio version with intro by us on the channel. So hopefully you'll get to see that. Today's top 5 is brought to you by
Nabisco. Do you like Shreddies? I don't. I don't know.
Where'd that come from?
It comes from Arctic crystal foxes. Where are they from? Canto Bight? I don't know.
Top 5 moments from the first year of doing this podcast.
Top 5.
What's that? Nice and short one. All right, Brack, you go first.
Top 5. My number 5 would be... Oh, God, I had it all figured out in my head, too. Top 5. Number 5 would be that we have... we call it our fans scumbags.
I like that.
And we made it up ourselves.
And I like that they've taken it now as their own. That's what I like. When people are like, hey, scumbags, I'm like, all right. Cool.
All right.
But I think we're also scumbags.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're the biggest scumbag. Well, you're a huge scumbag, and I'm a really big scumbag. I'm a giant scumbag.
Yeah.
My number 5 would be, I'm going to go with, do you remember when we did a show? You were like, James, we should do Getting Ready for Rogue One.
Oh, yeah.
And we did this 2-minute thing or 30 whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we're just goofing around. The day we're like, yeah, this is the day. And then we put it online. And I was like, no one's going to watch this. And you're like, no one's going to watch it. And we put it up and no one watched it.
Yeah.
But then one guy, I won't say his name because I won't say it.
Yeah.
Commented, really looking forward to your review of Rogue One. And we were like, we were in the theater when it posted because the funny story back then was I had an 8-year-old Mac.
Yeah.
And my Mac. So it took an hour for the podcast to be imported into Final Cut or Premiere, whatever one I was using. And then it would take 3 to like 12 hours to export.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why he was like. So by the time it went up, this 30-second, 2-minute thing, by the time it went up, we were in the theater. And we just kind of checked our phones, and I was like, Brock. And he's like, oh, my God.
Someone commented.
Yeah, and we were like, oh, I guess we have to do the review now no matter what. And so I would say that's my number 5. That was That was
we did that review from, this is probably the first time we did a one from your place here.
No, we did it the day before I went to New York. We did it live.
No, we came to your house right after we saw the movie.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we did another episode on it.
But the first time we did it here was before that, though.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah. My number 4 is the trivia contest.
That's my number 4 as well.
The elaborate setup that we went through.
You did that.
And yeah, I don't work at that company anymore.
And we haven't done one since.
So yeah, that was fun. Because it was the birth of Darth Ward too.
Yeah, that was. Oh, no, leading up to the trivia contest.
Oh yes, yeah.
You guys probably know because that might have been before we were on YouTube.
Yeah.
But we used to every week for like a month because we planned it for like a month.
Yeah.
We would call Andrew and Rob and ask them random trivia, Star Wars trivia questions, and be like, "Who's gonna get it right?" And I think Andrew beat Rob every week.
Yeah.
And then he got way too cocky the day of the trivia contest. And if you haven't watched it, you should check it out. Also, our math is really bad.
Yeah. Very bad.
My number 3 is would be when the 4 of us got together for the first time and we talked spin-off movies. You remember that?
Yeah.
That'd be my number 4. Just because that was the first time the 4 of us were like, this is it. What's your number 4?
Oh, my number 3? Yeah, we're on number 3. That's your number 3.
Yeah.
My number 3 is the fact that we have T-shirts. That's not this one. Yeah, that's my number 3. I can't believe it. And the fact that people love it so much. Or, well, I wouldn't say love it, but like people have been pretty excited about this contest, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. My number 2 is a twofold one. It's collaborating with Den of Nerds and Rebel Watch. And things like
yeah, that was cool.
But also going to Celebration.
And
meeting. We didn't get to meet Rebel Watch there because we didn't know them. Yeah. But we met up with Josh from Den Nerds. We did some videos there. And it was just like that whole experience meeting Star Wars fans, going there wearing our T-shirts that we just started, and then people being like, "Oh, I listen to you. I watch you."
That was crazy.
That was a fun experience. And that's my number 2.
My number 2 is the fans, the people that have been following us, and that the fact that we've come this far on YouTube, and that people are like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." The fact when I read that, it's like, wow, this is crazy. I mean, we're at 2,000 subs, and maybe soon we'll get people that are like, "You guys are idiots, and this is why."
No, we've gotten that already.
And we've gotten that, but like more, like, you know what I mean, like just straight up. Did you see what like Josh from Dead and Nerds got a mad
nice
slam on his? I'm like,
we're
pretty soon we're gonna get those too.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you guys are definitely my number 2. So
you guys are my number 1. Number 1 is not just that, but it's the emails that we get, the comments we get, the Facebook messages that we get with your theories and your thoughts and things that you like. You don't like saying that you're looking forward to this. You missed this show. You want more of that. We're doing too much of this.
Yeah,
Shut
exactly.
up, you're an idiot. But when we get an email and I look at it, I'm like, wow, you've put time and effort into this email. That's what and it's really appreciated, and it's really fun to see. Your number 1 is obviously Porgs.
No, my number 1, and this is why the fans are number 2. The fact that I get to do a podcast with one of my best friends every day. I get to see him once a week, sometimes twice. Daryl is my soulmate, okay? It's great that I get to do this with James every week, and it's crazy, and I've known him for 7, 8
we'll
years.
Ask Facebook
and I probably have seen him more times in the last year than I have in like 6 years.
Erin loves it.
Yeah, it's great. It gets him out of the house, and then she's forced to go on vacation to Star Wars things.
She had the time of her life. People are the videos. Hey, she's right there. People are watching that video of her on the floor of Celebration.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was a great one. I love that moment.
Yep.
It's fun doing it with you. Do you think we'll do it for another year?
You know it.
So next week starts our 2nd year. So what do we got? We're going to call it episode 53 or episode season 2, episode 1.
Yeah.
Brock's new home.
Season 2. ... Left behind. I don't know. This year, I'm hoping for a lot of new growth. I think we've got like a lot of cool ideas coming up. We got to improve our show.
We're really excited for the next year to come. Now we have this week. We have, I think, 5 or 6 videos.
Yeah.
This week, 5 or 6
Wild.
videos. Next week we'll have none. But
Yeah, exactly.
no, but we always try to have 3
Something.
videos a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is a staple. This one's for sure. This is the show.
Yeah, exactly.
The rest of the shows can all leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw you, Andrew.
I rebel? More like I smebel.
Andrew is very excited about I Rebel. I don't know if you know that.
I would be too. That's a great sorry. Rebels is a great show.
Well, maybe if you stopped working so much, you could come on it.
Maybe if you get a job, you'd understand where I'm coming from.
I have a job.
Do you hear that? Our podcast is just crumbling all around us. Oh!
My Transformers 4 mouse.
No, good work, James. You're definitely the backbone of this show, while I am the looks.
My favorite. I love when people comment on us and they hate us.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom.
It's always your mom.
It's always my mom.
Brock is smink is always like, why is Brock talking?
Yeah. Crazy. She's just crazy in her retirement.
Crazy.
Anyways.
But wait, before we wrap this one up, Erin just came by. Oh, you didn't see her on screen. You're like, come here. Come
You
on
can
screen.
hear.
It's been a year.
Hi.
There she is. Hi. When's Scavenger's coming back?
Hi guys. This weekend.
What about it?
Well, next
I'm gonna
week.
be doing. Oh yeah, next
Tomorrow,
weekend.
actually.
Oh! Yay. Return of
Miss you
Scavenger Scum?
guys. Yeah, Return
Yeah.
of Scavenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our #1 viewed
Bye.
show. Without
I'm
it.
glad she's gone. Oh, she's still
Can
here.
you get me a beer? Anyway, I have a house. I have a job. I am a house husband. I'm a
He's a kept man.
I'm a stay-at-home rabbit owner. I'm very proud of it. Brock, before we wrap this up,
Yeah.
though, what do you look forward to, Star Wars-wise, in our next year?
Last Jedi. Battlefront
In the
2.
think about this.
Poe Dameron.
Episode 104, which will be our second year.
Second year.
In that time, we will have seen The Last Jedi and Han Solo.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
It's pretty crazy. I'm pretty sure we'll have gone. No, I was gonna say we're gone to the theme park, but that won't be for another a while. Like us, but the park's not done for another
Look,
year.
guys,
So.
I have a plea for everyone watching right now. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. Here's my plea. That park is gonna be impossible to get into.
Yeah. So if you could just not go.
No.
And let us.
No,
go.
we want you to go. But the thing is, we have this platform now on YouTube. We have 2,000 subscribers.
2,000.
If you guys could all help us out and get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, maybe we could get a media pass and get into that Disney park before it opens.
You have the power. You have the power.
If you can help us do that, we'll go in. We will live stream everything, tell you everything about it, do our best to cover it for you.
Yeah.
And then that way, we can have Blue Milk, talk to Greedo. And honestly, my hope is that Two Tubes is there and Ben Quadernero's pod racing.
Oh my goodness.
Could you imagine the Star Wars hotel, not the park?
They
the
just
hotel?
take Cogsworth and turn them into Quadraneros.
Yeah. How amazing.
So tweet at Disney hashtag Rebel Scum theme park, and that will get us in that place. No, yeah, we'll see. Who knows? A year, we did pretty well for just 2 dudes talking into microphones.
Yeah.
In a year, we could be at 5,000. Who knows? We could be
1,000.
the new Chocolate Rain. I don't know.
All right, guys, thank you so much. But seriously, thank you for liking and subscribing as always and commenting below. We love having those conversations with you. And, a vote of no confidence just went up. Ryan Johnson has not responded to me yet.
How dare him?
Porgs are a flock. All right, guys, thank you very much. I'm James. This is
Brock.
And may the force of others be with you.
Porgs.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.